Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here. Someone roasted me for my inability to pronounce any Japanese names at all. So I actually listened to a video and I tried to get this down. Mitsuru Kubo. Mitsuru Kubo. All right, you've got to get Mitsuru Kubo on your radar. She is one of the most splendid manga artists I've seen in that everything about the setup for getting you invested in this story, it's kind of reliant on you actually caring and understanding why cheerleading is a big deal in Japan. If you don't get why cheerleading is a big deal in Japan, you're not going to become invested in the story. Ironically, the cheerleading team has to get their school invested in the sports game. So there's like a parallel between what the cultural significance of the Oendan cheer team in Japan and the art of the comic for the audience. So as I've talked about volumes 1 and 4, this is one of my favorite series of the year. It actually kind of reminds me a lot of Anonymous Noise, where that's about Japanese rock and roll. And like, if you don't care about these things or don't understand these things, everything is on the artist to kind of convey a emotion to you that means something to you. So what I love about this is, yeah, it's about like this cheerleading squad and, you know, crazy cranked up to 11 high school shenanigans and bullies and high school antics. But what it's also about is kind of overcoming antisocial behavior and living your life in a way where you can look back and say, I did the best I could do. And I'm living my life in a way that, well, there's actually a great quote about that where I think Kin says, you know, if you're going to have regrets either way, at least have regrets for doing the thing you wanted to do, which I just thought was just great writing. So the other neat thing about it is the way she's building plot points. So first 3 volumes, I was really enjoying myself, getting into it, kind of like maybe getting into the point where I felt like, okay, I know where the story's going. And then in volume 4, she threw a curveball, which is Kin is teleported forward in time again after getting teleported back in time. And he learns that in the real world, nothing he's doing in the past is changing anything. And he's not sure if anything he's doing is going to ultimately have an effect. But then he strikes his head again, goes back in time, and Captain Usami figures out that the reason why Kin is acting so weird is he seems to have knowledge of the future, which is pretty cool because the whole like time travel aspect was becoming just like a subtle little background point that wasn't getting used much. And now that he has this knowledge of the future, they have to get back to work, and he knows something about Captain Usami, which is that because the team falls apart, she becomes bitter, resentful, and cynical, and drops out of high school. So I marked this because this is just a good illustration of using different line weights and art styles to make a point. So Captain Usami kind of in a light, sketchy style as she's listening, dark, heavy shadows around everything as she gets triggered. One of the beautiful things about this is the characters. They have flaws, and their flaws kind of parallel one another. Captain Usami's judgmental, and she really is passionate about the traditions of the Oendan. Kin just wants to have fun and be part of a social group, so he's not bored. And so he doesn't care about the tradition so much as he cares about the Oendan being cool and them actually having fun in the Oendan. And they really need both of them to make it work, because the Oendan is a traditional part of the culture. You can't really leave that culture behind. But their problem is no one at the school thinks their Oendan is cool. No one gets into it, which means it's almost impossible for them to get anyone excited or looking forward to the games. So I'm going to jump ahead. When I said like the emotions are cranked up to 11, you know, there's some risque humor. There's some like, you know, bullies who spread like, you know, mean rumors about who's having sex with who. But because Captain Usami and Kin are so kind of like, they're both kind of rugged individualists and a bit antisocial in their own way. They sort of deal with it in different ways. So Usami always deals with it by blowing her top. And Kin kind of, because he was antisocial and he was used to being alone, he doesn't like being alone. He doesn't like being antisocial, but he's kind of learned how to not give a bleep about what other people think about him. And what's beautiful is Usami is teaching Kin something, and Kin is teaching Usami something. Because Captain Usami loves the Oendan so much, because she's able to put herself out there, this is what sort of inspires Kin, because he sees her able to do the thing that he's sort of he has a crippling fear of putting himself out there and being embarrassed in public, and she's absolutely willing to put herself out there. The rumors start. The rumor mill starts flying that The two of them are a hot item because of how much they hang out in the Owendan. And Rio, who's like a really sweet girl who was formerly on like the mean bully cheerleader squad, she's left the cheerleaders because Kin's kind of made her realize that like being a nasty you know what it isn't fun. So she leaves the cheerleaders and she's kind of secretly admiring Kin. Now, one of the things I really like is when it uses like the cheesy conventions of Japanese, romantic stories, it actually is going somewhere with them, or at least the writer is promising me, don't worry, I'm going to go somewhere with this. I'm not just going to have like an unrequited love story stretched across 30 volumes. So she talks to the baseball guy who kind of has the same problem, and then he kind of points out, well, it's not so bad. Those are just rumors. They're not really sleeping together. And then immediately Rio says, that's it. I should tell him how I feel and get rejected. That'll clear my head. I love that because this is kind of like, it's taking she has unrequited feelings of love for Kin, but then actually does something with that. She's going to go talk to him and tell him how she feels. And you really feel for her, because whereas Usami and Kin kind of have this chaste relationship where what connects them is the thing they love, the Owendan, Rio loves Kin because she sort of sees his good qualities. She sees how... it's ironic because he is antisocial and kind of has this troubled side to him, but he's really self-confident and he's really straightforward with people, and I think that's what spoke to her. Now, the part of this where this all comes together is for the first four volumes, we've been watching them try to get the club back together. Like, can Kin change the past, or are they doomed to fail because the future is written already? And after some minor successes and some fallbacks, and the team, always fighting and always getting on each other's cases, everyone on the team is kind of neurotic and weird. They have a horrible reputation around the school. So this all builds up to their first big game. And the rest of this volume is about building you toward a climax where every step is important. So there has to be like them realizing we've got a problem, there's no way we can win. They have to think through their problem and find a solution. They have to test the solution and it doesn't work out so well. And then they have to get more and more real up to a climax where I'm just like busting out laughing. I can't stop laughing because both jokes, both comedy and serious drama, are all about build-up. And this is both things. It's funny because of how ridiculous the dance is, but it's also meaningful because as they become a successful cheer squad, they are sorting through their personal issues and they're making something incredible. So I love how simple the problem is. Their rival school has a very traditional, very masculine Owendan, and everyone in the school loves the Owendan and cares about the Owendan. So no matter how good their team is, the school doesn't care. So what are you going to do? You're never going to get like the big cheers. You're never going to get the enthusiastic response. And Captain Usami admires the captain of their rival school, Chihiro Iwasaki, who's named after a female watercolorist, because he was the short little chubby kid who endured and persisted and became the captain of his Owendan. And she sort of feels a connection to that, I think, because she's a woman. She wants to be good at a boyish thing, and she doesn't want to be judged as a woman. So she admires that the little short guy was able to make himself into what she sees as representing the tradition of the Owendan. But because they simply can't live up to that tradition, they have to make their Owendan work for their school. So let's see, that's just like a little sample of the rival captain doing a crazy big cheer. All right, here it is. They explain for you kind of what the problem is. Still, you're right. If we rely on the same forceful traditional cheers as them, we're going to lose. Well, yeah, I've already taken that weak point of ours into account. So they've looked at their weak points and they've come up with a strategy. And the tension is, what are they going to do? How can you invent a new way of cheering when there's just like the same few traditional cheers? So the first thing that happens is Kin kind of picks up that no one's that invested in their cheers, and this whole time he's had like this crippling fear of being in public and being judged as a weirdo. So he gets on and he introduces himself. So you'll like say, "Hi, I'm so and so. I come from such and such school," and everyone's supposed to say, "What prestige?" when they hear what great school you came from. So every time he's been in front of people before, he's like collapsed. He's been afraid. He can't cheer. He can't dance. He can't. Or he'll lose his cool and just like have an outburst at people. So this time he gets up there, he introduces himself, and he's just really real with everybody. He explains exactly why he wanted to be on the Owendan and that Captain Usami inspired him. to be on the Owen Don. And then everybody else kind of introduces themselves. They tell people, oh, okay, this is the beautiful thing. So after he feels weird and like nothing happened, Rio, the girl who likes him, just starts crying and clapping for him. And then all the other girls who think he's kind of like a cool, weird, tough-looking bad boy, they start getting into it as well. So he's able to break through for them, not just like the first little steps. After he's kind of like able to break the ice and get the Owen Don to introduce themselves, they do their first couple, traditional cheers to warm up the crowd, and then they have to do something new. So this is great. So the other team is very masculine. The Owen Don is all about being a cheerleader, but almost being like a drill sergeant and getting the crowd excited. Their bright idea is we need a 3-minute cheer that anyone can learn so that the crowd can actually do it with us. I love this so much. So they get everybody to throw off their socks and shoes and do the cutest little dance you can. Osu. So this is funny because it's the opposite of what you're expecting. You're expecting something really masculine and manly. You're expecting karate or something really over the top and what would the word be for masculine? Macho. And instead, they do something like kawaii desu. But the drawing style the whole time they're doing this is really dark, really intense, with a lot of emphasis on motion. So look at this. Do cute little hops, and she's doing a chicken dance. But she looks like, look at the passion on that face as she do this. Do cute little scoops, and he's doing like the little ballet pose. But the angle is exciting. The motion of his hand is exciting. And people think they're weird. Do cute little claps, cute little twirls, and it's like this big, tough guy karate kid. It's funny because they're doing something cute and adorable and a little weird, and they've all been like these really intense, emotional people. Cuter as cute as you can, and then finally blow a cute little kiss. Now, the reaction is people start saying, oh, you're so weird, but then other people start laughing, and they want them to do it again. Success. They found a way to get their school, which doesn't get the Owen Don, which has no connection to the tradition of the Owen Don, to connect with what they're trying to do. They're putting themselves out there and doing something embarrassing for the sake of getting the crowd worked up for the baseball team. The baseball team gets into it, the crowd starts getting into it, and they have their first little success. Which is perfect because Kin's whole problem is fear of being judged in public, fear of being humiliated in public. The only way you overcome that fear is to be willing to do something humiliating. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. The only way to overcome the fear of being humiliated in public is to be able to do something like this in public with such commitment that everyone just respects you for having that sheer chutzpah. And that's where it wraps up. They're getting ready for the big game. The drawing style sells it. It was a cute little chicken dance, right? But it means something because the characters have been struggling this whole time just to get this club off the ground while everyone at the school thinks they're weird and kind of crazy. And it actually connects. What's funny is it actually then connects with the tradition because what Kin's mom, who's adorable, she's just so worried that her son will be antisocial forever, and she's so happy that he finally has friends. When his mom described what the Owen Don used to mean for her generation, they were almost like the rough kids at school that you didn't want to mess with, and they would always yell at the crowd and be kind of scary and intimidating. So Kin found a way to persuade the school, yeah, we're weird, we're out there, we are 100% invested in seeing our baseball team win. Share in our enthusiasm, and the art gets you to share in that enthusiasm. Fantastic. I love again. This is one that's good enough where if the library doesn't have any more, I think it's worth spending your money to buy and read again, purely because of how good Kubo is at using the art to get you swept into it. That's it. Number one Marmaduke fan. Love you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, click the bell to receive notifications. I love you guys, and I'll catch you later.